If an investor is investing in Nigeria up to $100,000 in Nigeria economy, we may even give him citizenship in Nigeria up by economy. We may even give investors. We will laugh at the economy. We may even welcome all investors by economy. We may even we will laugh at them. We will welcome all investors by economy. We may even we will laugh at them. We are now going to look into a very strong foreign policy for the country. And our foreign policy is going to be shaped mostly by trade. The first and foremost component that will come to our mind, the thinking that is going to drive our entire foreign interactions with foreign countries, is going to be in the area of trade. Especially foreign policy, we are going to ensure that we have a very strong security around the Gulf of Guinea, because that's the area where the massive trade volume of Nigeria is actually taking place. The Gulf of Guinea is an area within Nigerian shoreline about 846 miles. We will ensure that this area is thoroughly controlled by our naval forces. What we need to do in this country is to strengthen the capacity and the ability and operability of our naval forces. Navy is a key trade protector and driver. We are going to shrink the land army because we are not a militarized nation anymore. We are going to shrink them perhaps even by 50% and transferring most of the resources into our naval forces. We will make sure that our naval forces have the necessary capacity to protect all the cargoes that are coming into our country from the entire Gulf of Guinea down into our hinterland, over the inland waterways. Thus, throughout the River Benue and the River Niger confluence, we will have naval forces there, including trained policemen, there will be Navy, and then also trained all the necessary security agents that will have the naval capacity. Gulf of Guinea is very strategic to Nigeria's advancement when it comes to foreign policy. We should be looking at supporting United States Navy, very strong alliance with the US in ensuring security, protection, and guarantee of free flow of goods and services across the Gulf of Guinea. We look into our share numbers, we look into our capacities. We can be able to control this area from Cote d'Ivoire down to Gabon. These are all within, in fact, down to Equatorial Guinea, down even to South Africa, if we truly, really want to expand and extend the capacity of our naval forces. This is a very strategic advantage. It gives us a lot of opportunity, and it makes us to have our goods cheaper. Because once we provide some level of security, there are some incentives that are coming for the people that are bringing in their goods into the country. Whoever is telling you import is wrong, that person is absolutely wrong. Countries are measured by their capacity to consume, not their capacity to produce. Consumption is very important because it gives you power of monopsony. If you have the power of monopsony, you can be able to control your market. Tell me, if you have a shop and you are selling some items, if you don't have a buyer, how are you going to grow? A buyer determines your interest. Your customer is the person that defines you, because your customer is always a king. That means it's not a bad thing for us to be import country, because we are importing as customers for the country that is importing these goods into our nation. We can be able to have the power of monopsony, and this is going to align with our policy in skills and capacity development. Just take, for instance, we import maybe certain number of TM shirts in this country that is worth up to $2 billion. For instance, I'm just giving an example. Now we tell TM Lewi, because we have monopsony over the control of the market, that if you want us to keep patronizing your item, TM, we want you to come and set up your factory in Nigeria, because we have brought Bangladeshi women to teach our Nigerians how to sew a shirt like TM. Tell me, $2 billion, they will not lose this. They will come and set up factories in Nigeria. We import a lot of Kia Motors and maybe Hyundai. We can tell them, guys, why do you have to import these Hyundais when we have the local skills in our nation? Even if we don't have skills, we can be able to tell them, we import so quantity of car, maybe 1 million quantity of car into our nation. If you don't allow 100,000 Nigerian citizens going into your factories in South Korea to learn how to assemble, make, and manufacture these cars, we will block you from coming to sell into our nation. This is a very strategic advantage. They will not want to lose this opportunity. 1 million cars is not a small number of cars, and Nigeria, we are consuming this. Therefore, they can be able to take 100,000 Nigerian citizens to go and train them. When the Nigerians were able to get the skills, we will in turn convince them to come back into the country and set up the factory. The reason why today they cannot do this, we don't have the local skills. If you say Hyundai to set up a plant in Nigeria, they will have to import the labor, the skills and the capacity to do everything in Nigeria. That means you're just wasting time. Anybody that is currently marketing, make in Nigeria, buy in Nigeria, assemble in Nigeria, will not make Nigeria when we don't have the skills. We will be producing in Nigeria by the people that are coming from outside Nigeria to produce within Nigeria. Then what does it add? It makes it more expensive because you have to pay a expatriate fee, and makes it very difficult, and it even makes it more difficult for you to be able to transact cheaply. That is why most of our goods in Nigeria are very, very expensive. Why? Because everything is imported, including labor. We don't mind importing every other thing, but at least let us have the labor to be able to manufacture, to help in aiding, in designing, in assembling, in making these items that we import in this country. The power of monopsony is a strong power, and we will stand as a government that is strong advocate of free trade. So all our ambassadors that are going to be dealing with outside countries is going to strictly regulated based on trade policies. Our thinking is how you can buy what we sell and how we can buy what you sell. This is the first thing that will define our foreign policy. All political issues outside this country, we don't care. We will not dabble into different politics. We cannot go into United Nations and be talking about Israeli support or Saudi support or Palestinian support. That is none of Nigerians' business. Nigeria's business is who is giving us the big business, who is giving us the big deal. And these are the kind of persons we will liaise with. We will look into these key important factors in making all our decisions. And one of the strategic importance we need to understand is that Nigeria is an Atlantic nation. We are living around the Atlantic Ocean. We are directly connected to the Atlantic countries. That means our strategic partnership and alliances should be formed within the countries that are around Atlantic Ocean. The Brazil from the other side, United States from the other side, Europe and North Africa. These are our key allies. These are the people we need to have strong relationship with. Unlike the way it's happening, we are mostly moving our alliances to China. This is not strategic because actually what defines a country, as I mentioned earlier, is geographic advantage and then good governance. So we are going to leverage our geography, accept the fact that geography is a reality, it will not change, nobody can shift it, and then trade, interact, relate freely and responsibly with all our Atlantic neighbors. This is the area where we need to build capacity. Gulf of Guinea is our strategic point. Trade is going to regulate our foreign policy. We cannot go to United Nations and be dumbling into Syrian politics or Iranian politics. These are not our issue. We will only be negotiating deals with nations. Our target is to make an average Nigerian purchasing power higher. Currently, each Nigerian is living, most of Nigerians are living below $1 a day. And our government is going to make sure that Nigeria's capacity has been upgraded to at least $10 a day. That is our target. So we'll focus on making Nigeria more prosperous, more stable, more economically viable, and more stable nation. We will open our borders. We are not going to put brokers. In fact, we are going to train our custom service agent and our immigration agent as customer service members of the country. They will have customer service training because we have to lay red carpet for any investor that is coming into this country. If an investor is investing in Nigeria up to $100,000 into our economy, we may even give him citizenship if he wants. We will welcome all investors. We will laugh at them. We will do our traditional dancing for them at the airport. We will lay red carpet for any investor that is bringing $100,000 into this country. Our target is to have more money coming in so that we can live bigger than the way we are living. That is our principal focus in the government of which we are planning to set up if we were succeeded in 2019 election. Now, imagine these statistics. 50,000 people are coming into this country each of them is willing to invest $100,000 into Nigerian economy. Do you know what is the value of this amount of money? You are talking about almost $50 billion. That is the value of money that is coming into this country. Do you know what that can do if this money is spent into our local economy? Do you know how much people are going to be richer and stronger? Do you know how much people are going to be empowered? Do you know how much economic activity is going to be created? Do you know how much consumption is going to circulate within the economy? This is the power of opening borders. Free trade, opening borders, strong trade policies, and strict diplomatic trade relationship with other nations is going to regulate our foreign policy. We will laugh at them, we will laugh at them, we will